Whenever we hear about crypto and blockchain technology, we often think it is very complex and not our cup of tea. If you are one of those, then this video is for you. Welcome to Mudrex. Hopefully, by the end of this video, you'll exactly know what is blockchain technology. Let me explain it to you in the simplest terms. What is blockchain? Blockchain comprises of two words, block and chain. First, let us talk about the first word, that is block. Block is a kind of container where data is stored. For example, Mr. Parker decides to sell one house to Ms. Smith for $1 million. Once the deal is locked, the transaction is stored on the block. And do you know, one block can contain more than 500 transactions. And that means once a block reaches its limit, an entirely new block will be created in the blockchain. So I hope by now you have understood the concept of block. Now we will move on to the concept of chain. Once a block reaches its limit, it creates a secure and secret code called hash, which is the address of that particular block. In the new block, it is stored with the name of the previous hash, and this hash chain goes on creating new blocks. Now, since each block is linked to the data of the previous block, we have a chain of blocks called the blockchain. Interestingly, a fact to be noticed here is that the very first block in the blockchain is known as the Genesis block. I hope by now you have understood the concept of block and chain, how data is stored in the block, and how it is connected through hash. Now we will be talking about how this technology works. Remember the Parker and Smith example that they made a deal of $1 million, but how that transaction was stored in the block? Let's find out. Well, every transaction in the blockchain network is verified by the computers, and we call them nodes. These computers solve a complex puzzle to verify the transactions, and once they solve it, it is shared with the computers in the blockchain network. Once they verify that Mr. Parker and Smith made a deal, this block will be verified and added to the blockchain network. We call this process the proof of work. But what makes this technology super secure? You must be thinking, if the nodes are verifying the transactions in the blockchain network, what if the nodes also alter the transaction history? But let me tell you, it is next to impossible, because once the transaction was verified and stored in the blockchain, it was shared with everyone in the network. So, whenever any node will try to make a change in the transaction history, the hash of the block will change and unlink from the other blocks. Since the other nodes already have a copy of the transaction in the history, it becomes very easy to track the details of the transaction and who tried to change it. After that, the node which tried to change the details of the transaction will be kicked out of the blockchain network. But why are these nodes verifying the transaction? Because they get rewarded for it. Let's take the example of Bitcoin. Here you get rewarded with Satoshis. 1 million Satoshis equal to 1 Bitcoin. Now, let's try to highlight the use cases of blockchain. Do you know that blockchain technology has several use cases, beginning from cryptocurrency, financial services and products, real estate, digital voting, digital identity, and many more. But who invented it? As we all know, blockchain technology was first described by Satoshi Nakamoto in 2008 in a white paper. However, the concept can be traced back to 1991 when Hebel and Stoneda published a paper which is considered an early precursor to the blockchain technology. Their work was aimed at preventing the modification of official documents which was once recorded in the system, today which is considered one of the very key features of the blockchain technology. Now here comes the most awaited question. Why is blockchain technology actually required? For example, if I made a transaction of $100 with a shopkeeper, how do we determine whether it's valid or not? How do we verify it? The answer is simple. We just want to have a record of it. For example, each transaction has a transaction ID maintained by your bank. Whenever you want to verify those transactions, you just go to the bank. But you'll notice one thing. This is all centralized, which means there is an authority. These authorities have a lot of power, and as you know, power may sometimes corrupt. So what happens if one of these authorities wants to change the fact or maybe change history of it? Now this may seem really far-fetched, but even our world history is just a record kept by the historians in a centralized manner. Well, decentralization reduces the risk of fraud, corruption, and manipulation. And blockchain is a decentralized technology solving for the problem of centralization. Decentralized means no authority or person controls it. It is one of the most secure technologies. It is a trustless system meant for keeping records of everybody without the need of any authority. There are few more terms related to the blockchain technology, like consensus mechanism, proof of work, proof of stake, etc. All these topics will be covered in our next videos. And I hope you have understood blockchain technology. If you still have any questions or queries, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when we post a new video.